Hi, this is Jack Butler. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is about structure and freedom and what is the relationship between them. As creatives, entrepreneurs, freelancers, often we have a dislike for structure. We have a dislike for routine, and we find that level of detail and structure can sometimes be boring or overwhelming or just frustrating. So I know that in recent years I've spent a lot of time asking myself, what is the minimum effective dose, to take a Tim Ferriss concept, what's the minimum effective dose of structure that I need in my life in order to feel creative and at the same time that I have a decent output, that I actually follow things through to some kind of completion. I remember Seth Godin talking about successful entrepreneurs as being those entrepreneurs that ship, that actually get a product to market, that actually take a vision and are able to manifest it, or are able to surround themselves with people that can ground and manifest their vision enough that they actually get something out, and they draw a line, they end a product cycle and they ship and they get something out into the marketplace. Too often as visionaries, if we maintain only a visionary stance, we don't actually get to shipping. We just innovate more ideas, more visions, but we're not actually working the vision through the messy, yucky reality of operational structure and things that need to happen in order for it to concretely land in the world. Churchill said that he spent the first 25 years of his life pursuing order, which is another word for structure. And he spent the next 25 years of his life pursuing freedom. And he spent the next 25 years of his life realizing that freedom came in order, or that freedom came in control. So there's some kind of polaric or polarity relationship I think exists between these two things of the unstructure, the freedom, the creativity, the divergence, the unfolding, and the convergence, the structure, the detail, the management, the operations, the things, the nuts and bolts that actually concretely have something happen in the world. And here's what's interesting. As a professional strategy, it may make a lot of sense, if you're a visionary type, for you to surround yourself with operational people. You know, to have maybe a second in command, someone, a chief operation officer, someone who's just really good at overseeing the day-to-day of business operations, or who's good at grounding your vision. You know, you might have an executive assistant that can keep on track of receipts and invoices and web marketing strategies and Facebook likes and all those kind of things. And that may be a very good strategy to partner with people that have complementary strengths. When it comes to personal development, I'm a believer that there's a minimum effective way that you have to metabolize the value of the non-normal polarity, and I'll explain what I mean by that, in order for you to be more full spectrum in your living, in order for you to be more fully expressed and rounded and balanced in your developmental profile. So if you're someone that naturally is more in the big ideas, there's like a minimum way in which you getting more disciplined and having the willpower and the structure and the follow through will actually make you a more complete an effective human being. So in terms of your own development, that can be something to pay attention to. Likewise, if you're someone that is typically hard to have a sort of brainstorm or free thinking conversation with you, because you're so much in the management and the necessity of what needs to be done, it can be really developmental to look at that other polarity and try and bring it in more. And really what it comes down to, in my experience initially at least, is valuing it more. Like, you can come up with all number of strategies as to how you could be more detail oriented, but if at the end of the day you think being detail oriented is unimportant, why would you ever spend much time there? You may not think it's the most important thing, but there's like a minimum way that you've got to think it's important in order for you to want to spend time, in order for you to develop that edge, in order for you to think it's even important to, you know, process all your receipts, for example. So what might be best for you professionally in terms of leveraging other people, you may actually need a different strategy personally when it comes to your own holistic and whole person development. So my question for you as I end this video is, you know, what is the minimum effective dose of structure that you need in your life? Are there certain aspirations that you've had for a long time that you haven't realized, you haven't had happen? And one of the reasons for that is because you don't have the effective sort of operational base in order for those things to happen. You know, I'm shooting a video every day at the moment. I don't shoot a video at exactly the same time every day because my days look different, and sometimes I work late into the evening, sometimes I get up and I'm coaching at 7 or 8 a.m. So I don't want to have a specific time every day that I do this, but I do want to know that when I turn my attention to videos, it's easy for me to do. I know which video I'm using, I know which tripod I'm using, I know how I'm doing the uploading process, so the actual process side is really minimal for me. So there might be things like that where it's actually about creating the sort of minimum operational structure, the place where you go, and the things that you need in that place in order to do something. You know, if you want to meditate every day, but you don't have a place to do that, you don't have a time in the day, or there's no space, or you don't have the right kind of cushion, or you don't have the right candle, or whatever the thing that you're using is, then it's less likely for you to happen. So we're all about reducing the gradient, right? Reducing the resistance to get into the things that matter to us. And part of that is setting up the foundation, setting up a good operational base. And that's particularly important if you tend to be a creative person, because speaking generally, that'll be the stuff that you under-attend to. Like, you'll have the idea and get inspired, but if in terms of actually turning that into some kind of habit or practice, you need to have the operational underpinning to support you in that. So what is the minimum effective dose of structure that you need? What are the areas of your life that might actually benefit from more freedom? You know, what are the areas of your life where you may need a bit more of a freewheeling strategy? You know, oftentimes I'll try and not schedule on Sundays so that I'm able to have a freewheeling day, so that I can really just follow my interests, my whims, my feelings, my kind of more subtle desires as they emerge, and I can just see how the day wants to unfold. And that's in contrast to having, you know, a week of coaching schedules and scheduled calls with people and business development meetings and so on. It's nice to have that. You can also take that strategy and apply it to, it doesn't just have to be your Sundays. It might be there's an area of your life, like your relationship, you know, or the way that you approach your business, where having some freewheeling time could be really useful. You know, there's a reason why Google has its 20% time, you know, Google employees spending Fridays freewheeling effectively in their roles, being creative, thinking outside the box, just following their interests, because that's a place where we can have some really great ideas, but B, is where we get resourced, we get rejuiced, we get rejuvenated by actually taking that sort of time, because it gives us a different relationship to our work. You know, we are not automatons, we are souls, and we are also animals. And we have, you know, an instinctual basis. If we're able to live from that, we have an instinctual basis to our life, which isn't all about using our head to have everything super structured out, you know. So what's the kind of balance that you need in your life? And as you look at the different domains of your life, you know, perhaps career, home, health, professional, spiritual, even the stream of life that you could call how much your life feels like it's integrated, or how much you feel like you're bringing all of yourself to all of your life. Are there any minimum structures that would really help you feel more creative, more resourced, and more generally expressive? So, freedom and control. There's a polarity to be explored there. I wish you well in doing that. Thanks for being with me.